I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the Board of Education for the School District of Waukesha, April 10th meeting. Thank you all for being here. Todd, did you order up the snow?
I did.
You just wanted to make, you want, yeah, one more decision, huh?
Yeah. So I'll be up at 4 a.m. tomorrow checking
There
it out.
you go. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So will you please take the roll call?
William Baumgart.
Here.
Barbara Brezink. Greg Dietz.
Here.
Amanda Roddy.
Here.
Diane Voigt. Patrick McCaffrey.
Here.
Kurt O'Brien.
Here.
Karen Reinacek.
Here.
Joseph Como.
Here. Barb is excused tonight, Sue. And Sue, will you also, have we been properly posted with the media?
Yes, we have.
Thank you. We're going to get right into it with our bright lights tonight. We have two bright lights presentation. First, we're going to have Lynette from Waukesha Education Foundation, along with Ann, perhaps, giving a presentation or an update on Waukesha Education Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. As most of you know, we've met you all before. My name is Lynette Kalmage, and I'm the Executive Director for the Waukesha Education Foundation. So thank you for inviting us to share a little bit more about our success with you tonight during your Bright Lights. I am joined today by our Board President, Ann Paskevas. There she is. And then I also have a number of my Board of Directors here, so if you could stand if you're on our board. I wanted to say thank you for the appreciation for that.
Thank you.
As you are aware, our foundation has been entirely volunteer-run for the last 15 years. Just last month, I celebrated my one-year anniversary with the foundation as our first and only employee. I have been honored to serve as the executive director and work with such a great group of people, both on our board and within the school district. So thank you for your board support, and thank you to all of those people that have made my first year here a successful one, especially many of the people in this building that support us anytime we ask. To begin this evening, I would like to debut our new video for you. This video is special because it was created by a sophomore at Waukesha West High School who is currently taking a course taught by one of our former grant winners. This project, to me, is very special because it comes full circle to what we're all about, providing funding for innovative projects created by innovative teachers and watching that project come to life through student application. The video is a great synopsis of who we are and why we do what we do. It's something we're going to be utilizing in our marketing to get more awareness about our organization, and you are seeing it for the first time. We're debuting it tonight, so.
The Waukesha Education Foundation, Inc., also known as WEF, is a 501c3 not-for-profit that supports the educators and students of the School District of Waukesha through active community involvement. WEF was established in 2002 by a small group of educators and citizens that saw a need to support our schools in a holistic way. WEF utilizes community resources to provide funding in two important ways. First, we provide grants for the educational enrichment of the students in the district, fostering quality and innovative learning, and ensuring a strong foundation for the future of our community. Second, we award scholarships through our endowed scholarship funds to provide a final gift to our students as they leave our district and apply what they've learned in their postgraduate lives. Since 2002, WEF has awarded over $250,000 in grants to educators within the School District of Waukesha to fund projects in the areas of innovation, technology, literacy, leadership, fine arts, workforce development, technical education, and more. Since 2006, we have awarded over $175,000 in scholarships to our graduating seniors from our endowed scholarship funds. In short, the Waukesha Education Foundation, Inc. exists because the citizens of our community and our district hold a common set of beliefs.
We believe in our educators.
They deserve the very best tools and resources to help them reach students.
We believe in our students.
Our students come to our district with the desire to learn, and we believe support from our foundation fuels this desire.
We believe in diversity.
Our students come from many backgrounds and many socioeconomic situations. We believe this diversity strengthens us and helps us educate students that can go into a diverse world and be successful.
We believe in a balanced education.
While words like STEM and technology and innovation are a cornerstone of many of the programs we fund, programs that fund things like literacy, fine arts, environmental education, guidance resources, and technical education are also important. We believe that all students deserve a balanced education.
We believe in community.
We build community through fundraisers and special events held throughout the community and within our schools. We recognize that educating tomorrow's citizens is a community initiative, and we welcome you to join in our mission.
We believe in workforce development.
Our partnerships with area businesses are paramount to our students' success, and there is a mutual benefit for both our school district and our business community to invest in our schools. We offer annual sponsorships, event sponsorships, and funding opportunities to businesses to help them connect with their future workforce and their families.
We believe that you can help us make a difference.
Get involved with our foundation as a volunteer. Attend one of our annual community events. Donate to one of our general funds or a specific fund based on your interests. Consider starting a scholarship fund or directed grant fund. Remember us in your estate planning. Get your business or community group involved as an annual or event sponsor.
We believe that WEF grants work.
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 You can make a difference in the future of our community. You can make a difference in the lives of one or more of our students. You can leave a legacy. Won't you join us on our mission? Donate today. Connect with us. www.waukeshaeducationfoundation.org 262-970-1143. Follow us.
So I would like to acknowledge the student, Ben Hamilton, who created this video, and Ben is here with us this evening. So Ben, can you wave? I would also like to acknowledge our voiceover talent, Amy Beckman. Amy has kids in the district and is actively involved in school-specific leadership. She donated, she has her own voice talent business, and she donated her time and talents to help us with this project. Amy? I would also like to acknowledge West High School teacher Mike Miller, who allowed me to work one-on-one with Ben and also provided him support as needed. So thank you. Last Friday, our grant window for 2019 closed. We had another record-breaking year. We had 95 grant applications compared to 67 last year. While we have increased our grant total for 2019 to $35,000, we had well over $120,000 in requests. My goal today is exactly what it was when I was hired, to continue to grow our endowment so we can say yes to every single eligible request that comes our way. We have work to do, though, and we appreciate your help. We are currently taking nominations for our 3 annual Waukesha Education Foundation Awards. So if you know of a business, a community organization, or an excellent teacher that should be recognized, please go to our website, click on awards, and nominate them. Nominations are open until May 10th. And Diane Voigt, who's been an awesome partner to us on the school board, is taking lead on that charge, so you can reach out to her if you have questions as well. In your board packets this week, we are also proud to present to you our 2018 annual report. This is the first time we've passed it out, so we just recently got it back from the printer. I encourage you to take a look at it. There's a lot of great things in there, and we are very proud of our growth. We've also provided you with an invitation to our upcoming walk and run. Whether you'd like to come as a participant or if you'd even like to help volunteer at the event, we'd love to have you there and present. I had previously provided you with our golf outing draft for our flyer, and today you should have found the updated flyer with the updated pricing, and we're happy to tell you that registration is officially open. We would love to see you at some of our events because your visible support is invaluable. We would not be here where we are today without people like you. So on behalf of our board, we would like to say thank you for all you do for our community. Thank you.
Questions? Board members? Board members have any questions or comments? Well, I have one comment. We believe in Waukesha Education Foundation. You guys have continued a great tradition. I'm sure the founders of the Waukesha Education Foundation, many of them are still in the community, are awfully proud of the group today and what you guys have done. So keep up the good work, and thank you for what you do. It's a lot of hours to put into the board and to make sure everything's working properly for the fundraisers throughout the year, and especially when the children get a chance to show off what they have done with their grants. That's always excellent. So thank you very much. We do have a second Bright Lights tonight. And Principal Shesky from Summit View, where are you? And I bet you have a few other people to help you with your presentation.
Oh, yes. Brought the whole gang. Some of you crew. We have 12 of our 5th graders here tonight, along with their teachers and our, thank you, and our arts integration specialist, Ms. Peterson-Burke, and they've prepared a little presentation, a sneak peek of the annual musical. So I'm going to let them take it away. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Marissa Roddy, and we are from Summit View Elementary School. We are so excited to be here tonight and present part of our 5th grade musical, The Jungle Book Kids.
Hi, my name is Tucker McGrath, and I played Baloo the Bear in The Jungle Book. I was in kindergarten and Summit View did a musical for the first time. I love that I get to be a part of the musical this year because I love to be with my friends and sing. And I've kind of waited 6 years for this, so it's kind of a big deal. Our entire 5th grade participates in producing our musical, from acting to set design. We even have 5th graders running the lights and the sound.
Hello, my name is Cassie Lamb. Producing our 5th grade musical is so much more than just acting and singing. Throughout this school year, we integrated lessons in language and readers' workshop to learn more about character development, storytelling, and the skills we need as actors and designers in order to tell the story of the Jungle Book Kids.
In a moment, we are going to sing for you. After we sing, we have some invitations for you to come see the Jungle Book Kids for yourself in June. We hope to see you all at the show, but we are going to sing I Want to Be Like You. But first, we'd like to introduce ourselves and tell you what part we play in the musical.
My name is Caitlin Soderman, and I play Bagheera the Panther.
Hi, my name is Tucker McGrath, and I play Baloo the Bear.
Hi, my name is Marcus Kataller, and I play King Louis VIII.
Hello, my name is Jalen Kess, and I play Shere Khan the Tiger.
Hello, my name is Grace Tilley, and I play Shanti.
Hi, my name is Tyler Shetler, and I play Dizzy Vulture.
Hello, my name is Skylar Cloth, and I play the Playful Man Cub, Mowgli.
Hello, my name is Riley Lyman. I play Jungle Thistle 1.
Hello, my name is Marissa Roddy, and I play Jungle Thistle 2.
Hi, my name is Lauren Walters, and I'm a wolf.
My name is Clay Fight, and I play Banyan 1.
And I'm Cassie Lamb. I play Banyan number 2.
Cue the music.
Yes.
He's reached the top, and I do stop, and that's what's bothering me. I wanna be a man, I got
choice is clear. We need you here to make our dreams come true. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. I wanna be like you, ooh, ooh. I wanna walk like you, talk like you, ooh, 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 ooh. You see it's true, ooh, ooh. And it's like me and me can learn to be you, ooh, ooh, and true, ooh, ooh. Man, what a beat. Will you stop that silly beat business and come here? Oh, yeah. Now, you distract the monkeys and I'll rescue Mowgli. Got that? You bet.
Wow. That was spectacular.
Thank you very much.
So they're passing out invitations to all of you to come join us
Thank you.
in June for the 2-night performance in Italy at Washington
Thank you.
School. So we have some work to do until then, but we're at a really good place right now.
Any board members with questions or comments? Mr. O'Brien?
So, who's the choreographer for this troupe that we have here today?
Oh, Miss PB. No, the choreographer. Oh, Miss Venti.
Is she here tonight? Okay. You guys, I thought you guys did an excellent job. It was very nice.
Anybody else? You guys were spectacular. I don't know how we can't come on June 3rd and 4th to see you. So keep practicing, keep up the good work, and thank you so much. This was fun.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Hedstrom, you have a tough act to follow here. It's a great subject, but a tough act to follow.
My favorite song.
You have an employee to recognize tonight, right?
Yeah. Oh, are we on, Ben? Yes. Okay. Good. Thanks. Yes, I'm excited to present the Employee Recognition Award for April 2019, and it's being presented to Amanda Shasky. Amanda, would you join me, please? So Amanda brought her cheering section from Meadowbrook, and I'm so glad she did. Amanda started in the school district of Waukesha in 2011 as a teacher at Meadowbrook Elementary School. Now, the title of the nomination for this employee recognition honor is Shasky's Selfless Service Serves Students and Others. And when I first read the nomination, I confess that I thought, okay, here's another example of kids engaging in activities that don't necessarily lead to academic achievement. It's just my bias, but I was wrong, really wrong. I kept reading the nomination, and I learned about this Wonder Woman named Amanda Shasky, whose leadership has inspired service learning through encouraging student ownership at Meadowbrook Elementary School. Amanda's nominators told us that she initiated the Justice Service League, which is a student volunteer group, and she posed 2 questions to the students. What is a way we can make our Meadowbrook community better? And how can we serve others in our Waukesha community? Students provided their responses and joined the team to share their ideas. And since September, the monthly JSL team meetings, she's led the monthly JSL team meetings during the lunch times. Now, this work has taught civic responsibility, which the students take very seriously. Amanda also leads teacher committee meetings for NED and the Justice Service League. Yes, I just said NED. NED is short for Meadowbrook's growth mindset traits. Never give up, encourage others, and do your best. Let me tell you about just one of the school climate initiatives. Yeah, she's cheering for Mom. Yeah. So just let me tell you about one of the school climate initiatives that have proved successful. Student volunteers help in the lunchroom and the playground. Amanda coordinated this volunteer service with lunch and playground student supervisors. The volunteers wear Justice Service League team capes, and they encourage students to do their best. They hold true to a very important rule. No student eats alone. When a student is sitting alone, the JSL is responsible to sit with that student, making sure they will enjoy their social time with another child. Don't you wish that happened in all our schools? I would love that. On the playground, these caped crusaders help students find play buddies and problem solve minor conflicts. Amanda has initiated a variety of other school climate strategies that involve students, including videos, assemblies, and partnerships with the Retzner Nature Center and a BMX professional bike rider. A current Justice Service League team project the students have been busy preparing for is a school-wide rummage sale on April 26th, so mark your calendars. It's going to raise money for the Humane Animal Welfare Society, better known as HAWS. Amanda has put in countless hours organizing and coordinating meetings with students and teachers to serve our community. She inspires students to get excited about serving others and giving them a voice in the service learning process, which has enhanced our Meadowbrook and Waukesha communities. Also, just a plug, Mrs. Voigt, she applied for a WEF grant. On behalf of the School District of Waukesha, I would like to congratulate Amanda Shasky on being selected to receive the Waukesha School District Employee Recognition Award.
Okay. Thank you. Something I'd like to share with you guys. So.
Floor is yours.
Okay. Try not to be nervous.
We'll keep you to 2 hours.
Well, don't, yeah. I am a teacher, you know. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the remarkable people in my life. First, Waukesha School District. Thank you for providing me this opportunity tonight, but ultimately my favorite job in the world. Of course, second to being a mother. My journey began with Kelly Ohm, the current social worker at Hawthorne, and I began the Justice League originally focusing on student-to-student conflict resolution. We led this group for 2 years. When she transferred away from Meadowbrook, I approached my supportive boss, Jessica, about upgrading the Justice League by including the word service to the title. Without hesitation, she agreed. And Jessica, thank you for your constant love and support. You are always open to any ideas I've proposed, and every time you work with me, you make them happen. Our school is successful because it comes from the top. Our staff wants to do our best for our children, at Meadowbrook, but also for you. Thank you for all you do. Your leadership and positive attitude makes Meadowbrook the best school to work at. Yeah. Lisa Bruce, who is holding my son right now. Lisa, can you wave, please? Can contest to that. She has worked for 36 years at the same school her whole career. This year, she has the pleasure to retire. As happy as I am for her, I'm saddened too. I've had the honor to be her 4th grade teaching partner for the last 8 years. Working with her is the best thing that could have ever happened to my career. Her expertise, selfless heart, and evident passion for teaching has given me the opportunity to learn from only the best in the business. But most importantly, I've gained a loyal friend. Excuse me. Lisa, I'm forever in debt to you for all the times you've listened to me, accepted my wild and crazy ideas, but also for writing the recommendation for this award. Melissa Spellman is not here today due to the birth of her daughter, but I need to thank her. Along with Lisa, she leads the Justice Service League. Melissa has a special gift and natural talent with teaching children, and in my opinion, the toughest grade level in elementary school, kindergarten. Her patience and perspective is much needed for the Justice Service League to be successful as it is at Meadowbrook. Of course, I must thank my amazing students, especially those on the Justice Service League. There are about 30. Wow. Between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. Their intrinsic passion to serve others is a trait unique to Meadowbrook students. Lisa and I are hoping our WEF grant is honored so we can give this group of honorable students an even greater opportunity to serve in the Waukesha community. By volunteering at places such as the Hope Center or other facilities in need, the children can use hands-on approach to develop their service project for next year. This year, This year, they're hosting a rummage sale, like Chris had mentioned, on April 26th, where families will host their own table to sell their personal items to people who are interested in shopping. This student-created event will cost $2 to enter the event, and all proceeds will be donated to HAWS. My goal for next year is to give these children an opportunity to make an even greater impact of the Waukesha County community members in need. In addition to the Justice Service League, I've continued the NED committee into students celebrating one another's positive NED behaviors. I'd like to thank all of the teachers and staff who'd committed time and talents toward making children the focus of every day. This team includes Jane Delamater, Brian Falk, Rachel Thompson, Lori Buswitz, and Lexi Pipia. The NED program has also included in the WEF grant that Lisa and I had submitted. Lastly, I need to thank my family. Tonight I'm here with my husband, Benjamin, in the hallway, my son, Maxwell, and my daughter, Ophelia. Without my husband's support and guidance, I would not be the teacher I am today. Also, my parents, who did not come due to the weather. I'm from Sheboygan, and that's quite a hike for them. They've always been my greatest supporter, but my mom for doing her magic sewing in the Justice Service League capes for the children to use when they're on duty. Tonight, I'm truly blessed to be represented by my family and friends who have supported me throughout my 12 years of teaching. My dad always told me, Amanda, when you go to college, make sure you pick a career you love because you'll never work a day in your life. Dad, you were right. I love what I do. Sorry. Each year is better than the last. And I pray that I'll be given many more years to continue to make an impact on children for our future. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I think this meeting's been pretty good so far. I can't say that word, but we're going to move on to our student representatives from Waukesha West High School tonight to bring us up to speed on what's happening at West. Isabella and Eric, will you please come forward?
What's the code?
Now you guys got to keep the momentum going here. No pressure. But
Sounds good. All right, so is it the it's the boardroom, I'm guessing? Oh, they're gonna see the okay. Awesome. So I know it's hard to follow up on an induction speech and some fifth graders and one that had just more confidence than me. But my name's Eric.
My name's Bella.
And we're going to give you the best of West for the winter of 2018. Okay. All right, so I know in our last meeting when I showed up, we talked about the leadership conference and how it worked. And just to give you a brief overview, we take a lot of our coaches pick like 3 to 4 athletes on each team, and they send them off to this, our so-called leadership conference. It is very unique. I'm almost positive that no one in our school district or even a bunch of other schools outside our school district even have an event like this. And it's all student run. We do have a couple, administrators helping us out with it, with the technical details, but we have a committee of about 11 people around there, and I was honored to be on that committee and helping out and speaking there for this. And we do run a bunch of different, we start out with games, just to get people involved and whatnot, but then we really dive into these certain leadership aspects. Like we have a couple of our sub meetings that go on where everyone can go and listen in, and one of them is going to be overcoming adversity. We have our super fan one, obviously, to get people excited for the next year to come. And then team chemistry and leading without a title. I've been a part of this for about 4 years, and the best part is that we finally invited other schools to come and observe this so that they can do their own within their schools. And I know that South was there for our one, and I talked to some of the kids that came and observed it too, and they absolutely loved it, and they've never seen kids so involved, and they're like, man, I wish I could get into that. So next, I'd like to go over the ADVID program that's pretty new to Waukesha West, and it's their first year of it's at Waukesha West for the first year, and we have 2 components right now, and one of them is the ADVID school-wide, and then our ADVID elective classes. And one section is about 24 sophomore students in the ADVID elective, but since it was so successful there, we next year are adding, should be 2 more classes, and they're going to be going from 9th to 10th and 11th grade, and we recently invited our 9th grade students who have been chosen for the ADVID elective for the next year, and to collaborate with our current ones so that they can get into it as fast as they can, and the upperclassmen can also help them get involved with it. Next, our freshman ignition program. It is a mentoring program at the beginning of the year that helps freshmen get involved, and they know what's going on. And we have this last Friday was our mentor training program, or to get kids to come and get ready for it. And we actually had 100 mentors get trained this year already, last Friday in our library. So there's a lot of kids in there, and we are preparing for the next year, which about 90% of all freshmen attend this event. And there's a bunch of games and a bunch of school learning activities that go around with it, just getting to know Waukesha West. And also that for the first week of school, it's the Welcome to West part of it. So usually 2 mentors from each group go to have a big section of kids that they can ask questions for. They always come in the morning, and whenever they go there, they always have someone that they can approach, so it's more comfortable for them in Waukesha West.
All right, so another thing that we're really proud of at Waukesha West is our academics, and one very good exhibition of this is the National Honor Society, which we are having our induction tonight, which is why Mr. Pat is not here tonight. And we have 60 of our students being inducted, which the NHS, which I'm sure you all know, is a very prestigious organization that focuses on character, scholarship, and leadership, and is very community and service-based. There's 40 some hours of service, that you have to go through. You have to go through letters of recommendation, and it's just really awesome to see as many students involved at Waukesha West as they are. And another thing too that Mr. Pat had brought up is that we have 30 students that have gotten a 30 or above on the ACT this year. So that's just another really good showcasing of the academic rigor at Waukesha West, as well as the talent of both our students and our teachers. So that's really awesome. And then another amazing facet of Waukesha West is the arts program, particularly the drama department and the choral department I'll be touching on today. So last month, the drama department was able to put on 2 weekends of our spring musical, Leap of Faith, which was an amazing production. I was very honored to see that and see the talent and dedication of my peers. And just, there's so many things that go into it, and it's just really cool to see it all come together because it's all student-led. We don't really get any parent or teacher help. All the costumes, all of the choreography, well, actually we had to help with that with the choreography, but mainly it was student-led still. And the stage building, since we have our stage class as well. That was just really awesome to see. Another really cool thing that the choral department did for our midwinter concert, which I had the honor of being in as well, and this was such an amazing thing to see firsthand as a performer, was one of our students both of his parents are completely deaf, and in an effort to kind of bridge that gap and bring awareness to the struggles and everything else that people that are hard of hearing have to go through, we performed a piece called Ain't No Grave, which involved all of the students signing along with the song, and the student with his parents, he got to sign through the entire song directly to his parents, and there was a part in the song where everybody was singing and it got really big and loud and all the music cut out for 8 or 9 measures, and it was just us signing, and it was so incredibly powerful, and the audience loved it, and it was just amazing that we got the community involved and we could bring awareness to that, and it was honestly one of the coolest moments that I've had as a performer at Waukesha West. And for the last thing we'll be touching on is, I know last time Eric had said that they had touched on Challenge Day, and again, another great opportunity to bring our students together, bring awareness to different issues, and just get everyone involved. We have tried to, as a school, bring forward that momentum, that positive energy, and our staff have been taking great care, and each month having kind of like a teacher challenge. Like, one month we had Welcome Back Wednesdays, which teachers did various things for the students. One had a guitar and he was getting it out, playing some songs, getting students involved. Another had his ukulele, and he writes his own music actually, which is pretty cool also as well. The next month it was High Five Friday, which pretty self-explanatory. Teachers were just kind of facilitating this connection and this positivity, just high-fiving random students, just making an extra effort to really engage and connect, which is awesome. And yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Any questions about any of those?
What questions do we have? Mr. Baumgart.
Not a question. You mentioned you were not confident or uncomfortable or something. Lose it, man. You're doing great. Same for you. I mean, both of you did a very nice job, clearly presenting what you're doing, and I know it's not easy, but you should get your confidence back now. That's all.
Any other questions, comments? Good stuff going on at West. Keep up the good work. And I think we might see you one more time, or is this the last time for you guys?
This might be
this is
last
it.
for West, yeah.
So thank you for representing your high school so well. And
they would tell us what's next.
Yeah. Do you want to ask?
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Mr. Baumgart.
What are your plans? Are you both seniors?
Yes.
Yep. What are your plans for?
Okay, well, next year I'm already enrolled in UW-Madison, and I'm planning on double majoring in music education and psychology. So that's kind of my plan.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to UW Milwaukee, and I'm going to pursue biomedical engineering.
Excellent.
Wow. Many years ago, I was in the engineering program at Marquette when they introduced the very first biomedical engineering class without a book. So it's come a long way, and I wish you well on that.
Thank you.
It's good stuff.
Mr. O'Brien.
West has a golf team, right?
Yes, they do.
It'd be nice if they would be able to show Mr. Baumgart which side he's supposed to hold the club.
Yeah, let's talk to Mr. Barish about that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about it too is like the Waukesha as our athletics team, we've had gymnastics go to state, we've had basketball go very far into sectionals, and they had a very good record. Then you have all the way to, what was that? There's one more, I can't remember what it was. But we also just had our MUN meeting within the school district too that West also attended, and that's a very big thing. It's Model United Nations, so it's kind of like a UN conference where everyone represents a different like country, and so it's a really cool experience. I heard a lot of good stuff about that. So,
Including all 3 Mexican countries? Okay.
Any other questions? Comments? Great job, you guys. We wish you luck in the future, and good luck at graduation, too.
Thank you.
So much.
We're now at the section of our meeting where we listen to our citizens address the school board. As in past practice, each individual will be limited to 3 minutes. At the 2.5-minute mark, Mr. O'Brien will give you a signal, and if you could wrap up in the next 30 seconds, we'd appreciate it. We expect all speakers to honor our time limit, refrain from using any inappropriate language in any manner, and be respectful in their comments. Speakers who do not meet these expectations may be prohibited from speaking at future Board of Education meetings. We also expect that the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the Board of Education and refrain from responding with verbal comments, cheering, applause, or other behavior that will detract from the meeting. And also at this time, if you have not already done so, please silence your phones. We do have one person signed up tonight, and that's Mr. Reese.
Good evening. One thing real quick. More bright lights like that, please.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it was. I love history. I'm a fan of it. I love just how things go through, the culture of things at the time. You know, some things stay the same, some things are very different. This month, we're going to recognize the death and the resurrection of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You know, in December we talked about his birth, but this is the reason for his birth. This is what he came for. When he was crucified, he didn't die alone. The 2 men were with him. And the interesting thing about these 2 men was they mocked him at first. Both of them mocked him, and the crowd mocked him. And here's where parallels to history go. If you look at Ted Bundy, when Ted Bundy was executed, and you watch what happened outside of the prison when he was executed, there was great joy. There was cheering and yelling, and things were the same then. People showed up. The people who showed up to see Christ executed wanted to see him executed. They had a reason to be there. They weren't there. Most of them were not there to be because they enjoyed him and loved him. They wanted to see him. They were there for the same reasons people showed up for Ted Bundy. And the 2 men that mocked him, one of them changed his mind. Something happened. Christ said something happened there that changed what his opinion was of Christ. And really, there isn't much that Christ said on the cross. There was one thing he cried out. He said, my God, why have you forsaken me? And why was that so influential? Because it was after this that one changed his mind. We read the Bible, we read it, and we can look up verses and that, but at that time they had scrolls. They didn't have it. Gutenberg wouldn't be born for about 1,400 years or whatever, so there was no press, there was no writing of the Bible. It was in scrolls, and they recognized verses through the first chapter of it, through how it opened up. And Psalm 22 begins, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? So far from my words of my groaning. So Christ starts to refer to Psalms 22 here. he's calling out, and one of them, as we know when we're kids, we go to church and we sometimes pay attention in Sunday school, and we pick up on things, and we have one of them must have picked up on something, because it goes on in verse 6, But I am a worm, not a man, scorned by men, despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They hurl insults, shrieking, shaking their heads. He trusts in the Lord. Let him rescue him. Let him deliver him, since he delights in him. So this is the mocking that they're hearing and seeing. So this is where it's going, and it goes on, and the whole chapter describes what's going on the cross. And it has to be what decided to change this person's mind. This kind of stuff is what interests me in history. When you use critical thought, you search things out and why they happened and the way they happened. And anyways, I am a much different man from this book, and so I praise God and thank him for the opportunity to be here. And, have a good night and enjoy your Easter.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address us at this time? Okay. We'll move then on to our minute approval. We do have a fairly large set of minutes to approve. March 13th regular board minutes, March 13th executive session minutes, March 14th executive session that dealt with expulsion, March 18th also an executive session dealing with expulsion, March 30th also an expulsion hearing. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. McCaffrey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Diane. Okay. And there's a second by a lot of people, but
That's all right.
we'll choose Diane here. Any discussion on the minutes? Any changes? Okay, Sue, will you please take the roll call vote?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Diane Voigt. Aye. Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, Sue. Moving on to our communications. Dr. Gray, did you
Nothing this
receive any?
evening.
Okay. And Diane, do you have a report on the Waukesha Education Foundation, or?
I'm deferring my report to the wonderful presentation by Lynette and Ann, and thanking Todd and Amanda and Bill for being stars of our video.
Thank you. I kind of liked that presentation, so it was fantastic. And then the video is fantastic, so hopefully it'll get some legs and get people to volunteer and to give more to the organization. Yes, there's some really good facts and statistics in there. Really nice. Thank you, Diane. Moving on to the charter school and program report given by Mr. Baumgart.
I just have a couple comments on to cover the core robotics team. Excuse me, our robotics team will be attending and participating in the world competition the week of April 23rd, and we wish them well. They competed the competition in Milwaukee a couple weeks ago. I think Sue attended part of that, and Amanda got down there, and I got down there, and I tell you what, that's exciting. I was impressed with the effort that was involved and the expenses that are required for a team to be there. And I'm gathering information to share with the board that'll show off or highlight the many sponsors that contributed to this program so that our kids could participate in it. In fact, that's one of the things they learn is fundraising. So.
And we still need more sponsors to help out.
Good. Always use more sponsors. There's no question about it.
I think Benjamin's going to try and give you guys some more information either via email or in a packet on that. So
that's right. I've talked to him about that. The other thing that comes up at this time of the year is the project graduation. It's now the Waukesha All-City project graduation. I want to put in a good word for them. At this time every year for the last 32 years, I'm making a little emphasis on that, they help put together a safe event for our graduating seniors. It's been very successful over the years, and if there's any way that you can help with them doing this, please do so. And that's all I have to offer.
Question, Ms.
Thank you.
Reincheck?
When is project graduation?
When? It's usually the night of the graduation. Four schools are involved in it. Catholic Memorial, theirs is in May. Ours is the 8th? Yeah, the 8th.
The night of graduation.
The night of the graduation.
June 8th.
Pardon?
June 8th.
June 8th, yes. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgart. Moving on to the consent agenda. Darren, did we have any gifts this month?
Yeah, one gift. The school district received $500 from Paula and Thomas Congdon to be used for the purchase of Spanish books for the bookmobile.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. Your consent agenda includes various categories for approval. If any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, you'll have an opportunity to do so in just a moment. Included in the items for approval are decisions of the expulsion panel, which met on March 14th, March 18th, and March 20th. A confidential communication regarding the details of the expulsion was in your Friday packet, along with the minutes included under item number 1H. If any board member wishes to discuss this item, we have scheduled an executive session at the close of the regular board meeting. Approval of the consent agenda confirms full board agreement with the expulsion panel's action. Do any of you wish to have an item set aside for separate consideration now? Okay, seeing none. Mrs. Reinacek, will you please present the consent agenda for approval?
Yes, thank you. Earlier this evening, the Human Resources and Compensation Committee approved of 8 resignations, 2 leaves of absence, and 8 new or modified teacher contracts. The information was provided in your packet and an addendum was placed at your desk. Mr. President, I move that the consent agenda be approved as amended.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Second by Amanda? Yes, Chris. Oh, we are. Okay. Did everyone hear that? We had one retirement that.
There was also 1 retirement that was approved tonight, so a total of 9. Sorry for the mistake, Karen.
So we got 9 in that category. Thank you, Chris, for correcting that. Any discussion? Okay, Sue, please take the roll call vote.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Diane Voigt. Aye. William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, Sue.
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Moving on to Dr. Gray's superintendent report.
Just a very short one tonight. We've continued to send you updates from our consolidation of our 3 schools. Today, in fact, we had another consolidation transition team meeting, and we'll be generating more information from that. We did send out messages to staff today. We'll be sending out additional information to parents. Dr. Cook and I met with the Hawthorne parents last week as well to kind of go over some things. So we'll continue to put out information. Now, it might look redundant because I think your packet had two items that probably looked pretty close, but we don't want to miss anything. So I apologize for the redundancy, but I want to make sure that whatever we put out, we're not missing anything. So I think we're in good shape. We've got enrollments now to work with. Chris is working on staffing. Again, when we have these consolidations, we do give staff opportunity to either go into the new school or maybe go to a different school if they would like to try something different. So that is going on right now as well. So I think we're continue to be in good shape. Over the next few weeks, we'll probably have more and more information as we move through this.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Gray. Now is the time of our meeting where we have our committee reports, and those rotate every month. And first up this month is Finance and Facilities, given by Mr. O'Brien. Take it away.
Back to the glasses. Okay. We had one action item on the agenda. It was the approval of the Waukesha Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Academy charter school contract. The 2 principals of STEM, Melissa Horn and James Murray, gave a brief presentation on the changes to the STEM charter school contract. These changes are primarily policy and wording updates to be accurate and consistent with SDW language, enrollment limitations from classes and sections to overall building capacity, and including priority enrollment for siblings. The committee asked for clarification on the diversity of enrollment, sibling priority in the lottery process. The approval of this contract was tabled until next month. I expect it to get approved next month. I think most of our questions have been answered. Information items, monthly update. The committee was presented in the budget report for the month of March. $21,102,955 was reported in the general fund revenue. $10,545,047 was expended during the month. There was $941,100 reported in the special education fund revenue, and $2,690,431 was expended. The district is operating in accordance with our budget projection in other areas. The other information item was eAchieve report, which, by the way, was an excellent report. Mr. Rick Nettensheim, the principal at eAchieve, provided the committee with an update on eAchieve's enrollment, student achievement, and school improvement. He also provided results from the marketing study completed last year. The focus for school improvement for this current school year is reading and numeracy. Elementary teachers participated in the first round of Advantage Math Recovery, or AVMR, training. Teachers are also participating in AVID training and reading instruction professional development. The marketing study saw a 14% increase in FTEs this year over last for the 1920 school year. The marketing plan will include sponsorships and booths at Milwaukee Kids Expo, a premium listing on niche.com, a school rating website, tweaked social media campaigns, and shifting funds from regular TV to on-demand channels. And enrollment at eAchieve is up, and appears like we're making money in that program at a fairly solid position and on the right track to continue to grow. Referendum project updates. Darren Clark provided an update on the construction slated to happen during the summer of 2019, including structurally secure entrances at 11 elementary sites. The bids for these projects were released on April 3rd and are due on April 23rd. There will be a pre-bid walkthrough on April 18th. All bid documents are available on the district's website. We don't have any discussion items this month. We will be dealing with the Department of Public Instruction's DOT settlement. I'm looking at it. That's not right. Yeah, we didn't have a lawsuit with DPI, thank goodness.
I had it anyways.
Not this year. Yeah. Good idea.
It could happen.
The committee voted to bring forward to the Board of Education a settlement proposal in the form of a release to the district litigation against the DOT, which is the Department of Transportation. This item is agendized as a possible action after our posted closed session. With that, Mr. President, that concludes my report.
I think I need another Bright Lights presentation because I had like 30 or 40 minutes allocated for your report, Mr.
I'll take care of that.
I could
Those
go
got you covered.
I could go into how to hold a golf club properly if you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Moving on to teaching and learning given by Mr. McCaffrey.
Thank you, Mr. President. The last Teaching and Learning Committee meeting was held April 2nd at 6 p.m. We have 3 information items that appear on the agenda this evening. Our first information item was a Playworks update. Playworks enhances school culture by leveraging safe, fun, and healthy play at school every day. Playworks aims to create a place for every kid on the playground to feel included, be active, and build valuable social and emotional skills. Playworks Team Up began in Waukesha in the 2015-16 school year at Blair, Bethesda, Hadfield, and Hawthorne. It expanded in the 2017-18 school year to Banting, Higher, Lowell, and Whittier. And this year, Playworks partnered with the School District of Waukesha to bring another level of Playworks called Playworks Recess Reboot, a week-long on-site training, consulting, and capacity building program to 3 more of our elementary schools, Hillcrest, Prairie, and Randall STEM. In both 2017 and 18, the School District of Waukesha received grants from the United Way to help offset the costs from teaching and learning to support Playworks in our district. Our second information item is a math technology update, grade 4 through 8. Rose Palmer and Deb Paczynski were at the meeting to let the board members know that as of the summer of 2019, 10 marks will no longer be in business. You may recall that last year, approval was given to use 10 Marks Premium for digital math support in the 4th and 5th grades at the elementary level for just this school year. The math team has analyzed various math supplemental programs and asked teachers for input on what program would best meet our students' needs. A recommendation for the digital supplemental math program to be used for next year will be brought forth at the May Teaching and Learning meeting. Our third informational item was instructional coach model. The School District of Waukesha has an instructional coaching framework and coaching priorities that guide the work of our instructional coaches. Recently, the district was asked by the DPI to share our coaching model as a model for the state, and that article will be published soon this spring. Joseph Kenke, DPI statewide coaching coordinator, came to Waukesha to spend the day with Chris Pawali, instructional coach at Hawthorne, Hillcrest, and Lowell, and Courtney Garnaseska, instructional coach at Hillcrest and Lowell. 2 Hillcrest second grade teachers, Abby Lauer and Katie Comer, were also invited on their experience with coaching. All 4 of those staff members were at the TNO meeting to provide the board members with the insight on what the Waukesha instructional coaching model looks like, as well as the value that this adds to our teachers in terms of recruitment, support, and retention. Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report. Our next meeting will be held on Tuesday, May 7th.
Thank you, Mr. McCaffrey.
Thank you.
Moving on to safety and security given by Ms. Roddy.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is no report tonight. However, our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 18th, 6 p.m. here in the boardroom.
All right, thank you. I'll be there. Moving on to human resources and compensation given by Ms. Reinacek.
Thank you, Mr. President. While the non-renewal recommended for tonight is performance-based, I'd like to make a statement with regard to the situation regarding potential layoffs in the physical education department. Because of the change in assignments at the secondary level and the consolidation at the elementary level, we need fewer physical education teachers. We hope this will be accomplished through attrition. Each year, we unfortunately receive resignations and retirements that eventually mean we need to hire more physical education teachers. In the event we need to make the tough decision to lay off 1 or more physical education teachers, we will use a process that has been in place in our district for the past 7 years. We use a rubric to define the person to lay off, and the rubric includes the following attributes: type, quantity, and quality of service made to the teaching professional, staff member performance, and contribution to the school community. Adaptability to other assignments, including academic and extracurricular, and multiple licenses. Evidence of professional growth as well as specialized or advanced training. The previous history of grade levels and subject areas taught. Effectiveness in teaching and in related professional responsibilities, evidenced by teacher evaluation, and length of service. When possible, the district will provide the employee subject to layoff a 30-day written notice. However, based on the circumstances, the district expressly reserves the right to notify an employee layoff with less than 30 days written notice. This is the process we have followed and will follow in this situation. No decisions for layoff of physical education teachers will be made this evening. Ms. Hedstrom, would you like to add anything?
I'll just add that the reason for the statement is that many of the board members are receiving letters and pleas from parents and teachers and students about a potential layoff of physical education teachers, and to inform the board that the use of the matrix or the rubric for determining layoff is not done in isolation. It is a collaborative process that includes the principals and also some very standard metrics that are, it's black and white. Teachers receive a score for their evaluation. They receive a score for the leadership areas. They have certifications, and so we look at that. I just want to address some of the miscommunication that has, I think, created the decision for many teachers to visit the HR committee meeting today. And that is initially in looking at what teachers may be laid off. We looked at teachers that in their licensing, because some teachers do not yet have an adaptive physical education certification. Adaptive physical education certification allows that PE teacher to work with students with special needs, and it provides more flexibility and efficiency in our staffing process. So since 2012, Jen Wimmer and then the Phi-Ed coordinators since then have discussed with physical education teachers the need to get their adaptive physical education certification. Whether or not they thought that was a choice rather than a requirement, it doesn't matter right now. We decided to look at the 7 teachers in our school district that do not have that adaptive physical education certification, and it turned out that they were all veteran teachers. So there were some conversations in the spirit of being transparent to say, hey, we're looking at this right now, but there was never a communication that you're on layoff. Only the Board of Education can approve layoffs, and that has not been done, and no teacher received a letter of layoff. So I just want to clarify that for you. Since then, we've decided to look at all 44 of our physical education teachers and use that matrix or the layoff rubric for in the same way with all 44 teachers to see how that will come out. And we're in the process of doing that right now, but I'm still hopeful that somehow through attrition we'll be able to avoid any layoffs this year as we have in previous years.
Thank you, Ms. Hedstrom. Each year, the administration reviews the employee handbook and makes recommendations for changes based on a variety of items such as budget, ease of administration and understanding, and employee suggestions. The committee and board are provided with the portions of the handbooks that contain the significant changes. Following committee board discussion, any needed changes will be made and brought back for committee and board approval in May. An itemized list of recommendations for changes was placed on your desk. The official handbook, once approved, is valid online only to make available all hyperlinks and ensure the reader is using the most up-to-date version. Next, the HR committee discussed the goals for salary increases for the 2019 and 2020 year. While we will consider teacher-based wages in closed session, other employment groups' wages is discussed in open session. The Human Resources and Compensation Committee received information on comparable wages, and the Consumer Price Index indicates a 2.44 cost of living increase. However, ongoing discussions in conjunction with the budget decisions may drive wages this coming year. We hope to provide a recommendation for approval next month. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Yeah, these last 2 items too were discussion items, so if there are questions or comments that people wanted to make. Mr. Baumgart?
I would like to go back to the incident with the PE teachers. I want to thank Chris for explaining that, because this afternoon was a rather hectic afternoon trying to understand that this was even happening, because as board members, I had no advance notice that anything like this was happening. So it was kind of panic time. We're trying, how do we respond to these? Do we respond to these, et cetera? And sometime during the afternoon, I did get some answers on that one. But I appreciate Chris explaining tonight a little bit more detail what's really happened. And, because for a while this afternoon, I was kind of stewing with the fact that what in the world are you guys doing that's caused this flare-up? And now I understand better what it is. And the flare-up was, somebody gets an idea and rumor spreads rapidly.
Right.
And I'm much more comfortable with where we are now. Thank you.
I think it was handled well in the committee discussion also. Mr. Bryan.
Yeah, I think we have to, as all board members, we probably all understand, we don't get into HR issues, specific HR issues. And my response back to those, and it was a standard response, was we'll look at the process and we'll review the process. But specific HR, we don't actually micromanage to that point. I have asked for our next HR agenda to address possibly the situation in terms of why it created a problem for these 7 specific employees that were assessed, and see if we can address that. Hopefully we'll be able to have that discussion at HR if the HR chair allows that to be on an agenda next time. But I do feel that we're on a process that should resolve this appropriately. I also believe that, like every year, normally we have enough ways to make our budget that we really probably won't have to lay anybody off, but we'll see. So,
And I mean, I think that's part of the issue too, is that we have not had these kind of budget-related layoffs since 2008. That's been 11 years, 11 budgets where we've not had to lay people off in this fashion. And as Mr. O'Brien noted, we hope that we can continue that. But as we continue to get fewer and fewer funds from the state with some declining enrollments, there might be a point where enrollments just don't allow for a certain level of staffing. The other good news too, and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong, is we've not had many retirements this year as we have in previous years, and we've not had nearly as many leavers as we've had in previous years. So I think that's a good sign in terms of longevity for staff, but it does have an impact on these situations.
Mr. Bryan.
I'd like to remind you, we used to issue layoff notices or notices of, preliminary notices of 25 to 35 to 40 teachers back in the day. Before we...
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Before we got better, well, we negotiated some flexibility into our salary schedule that helped us a great deal. And also the fact that we've been able to work with our staff year after year to manage our budget properly without having layoffs. And so it's just that people aren't used to having a non-renewal relative to a budget cut when we used to do 25, 30, 35. And that was, for everybody who gets that, it's not a good feeling, so.
Anything else on these discussion items? Ms. Reincheck, anything else?
Not for me.
All right. Thank you for your report. Appreciate it. Moving on to our policy committee. I guess I have to allot the extra time from Mr. O'Brien to Mr. Baumgart. Have at it.
We are going to have a little bit more to talk about tonight, but the good news is we're getting to the top of the mountain and it's going to go down.
Yes.
Now, so. I do have quite a number of action items tonight. This will be following our revised way of dealing with it, where in essence I'm going to go through a very brief reading of about 32 different policies, some of which will be kind of combined because they're grouped, and able to take action on it tonight because this is in that group that is strictly revisions and it's not into the new policy. I do have 4 new ones for reading later, but
this is actually streamlined, is what
this is the streamlined part, yes. Otherwise, I'd read it to you this month and next month. And I can see trouble brewing over here, so would you please monitor this group? Okay.
I'm moving for approval.
You're serious?
Yes.
On all 30?
You go ahead and read them.
Okay. All right. First one is policy 0161, parliamentary authority. Quite simply discusses the fact we're going to be using simplified version of Robert's Rules of Orders. There's one statement in there worth knowing. Any failure to comply with the above procedural protocols will not affect the validity of any substantive action taken by the board within its legal authority. Policy 0164.2 and 0165.3 is quite simply combining policies into one policy for special meetings. It does not really affect the way we are operating. Policy 1130, 3230, and 4230 deals with the subject of conflict of interest. This deals with the same policy in 3 different groups of population. There is one point in here that I do want to make clear. These changes are recommended to make it more clear to employees that the scope of conflicts the scope of the conflict's rules are not mitigated by assertions that the conflict produced a benefit to the school district. Does not matter whether it presented a benefit or not. It's really to try and keep us looking honest and straightforward and trustworthy to the public. Policy 1213, 3213, and 4213, again, the same policy for different populations. Quite simply is done to so that it pertains exclusively to administrators rather than to administrative assistants. So it's basically clearing up the language as to who's involved with this. Policy 1460, 3160, 4160, physical examination. I'm already finding myself falling behind here. We've already talked about this previously, where it gets into the fact that we will be using a screening questionnaire subject to further tests in the cases of new employees, rather than having everybody take a test for tetanus. And there's a statement on the back here: in the event of a report of a condition that could influence job performance of an administrator other than the superintendent shall base a non-employment recommendation to the board upon a conference with the examining physician and substantiation that the condition is directly correlated to defined job responsibilities, and reasonable accommodation would not allow the employee or prospective employee to adequately fulfill their responsibilities. Again, repeated 3 times on different policies. Policy 1461, requested leaves of absence, fitness days. This is about administrators who may be unable to perform their duties if they have to have time off. Clears up the language that it is for administrator as opposed to administrative employees, because that again could involve really non-administrators. 1623. A prohibition against disability discrimination. Changes a few words from work days to business days. Nothing significant. If you guys must have been paying attention when I passed out that green sheet last Friday's meeting, so you paid a lot of attention to it. Good. Want to use that again?
Green sheet worked.
Okay. Okay. 2270, religion in the curriculum. Language has been removed from the policy, which could be construed as inconsistent with the board's authority. Also, as outside parties have appeared to increase their scrutiny of references to religion in the curriculum, their terminology in this policy has been clarified to better conform to legal standards. Policy 2271. Early college credit program. Quite simply, we did a separation of the 2 programs into 2 different policies. Nothing changed in the policies. Recording, 2461, recording of IEP meetings, discusses when and if a IEP meeting may be able to be recorded by a device, so that the parents or guardians that are involved in this might have a need for that in the future to understand it, as opposed to the paper version. Also, this record, if we do this record becomes one of our records that must be maintained. That's a significant part of this. Okay, 3120.04, employment of substitutes. I'm not even sure why they wrote this policy, because we already use substitutes and we know what we're doing, so not much more I can tell you about that one. Oops, just a minute. Staff discipline. We're over halfway there, guys. Staff discipline, 3139 and 4139. This policy does not cover decisions to terminate or non-renew a staff member's employment. And it goes on further, dealing with how to handle it. Let's see, there's a paragraph here. The board retains the right and responsibility to manage the workforce. When the discipline of a staff member becomes necessary, such action shall be consistent with the requirements of any applicable board policy, state or federal law. And, here's the other one I wanted to read. Management efforts engaged to improve an employee's job performance or address specific performance concerns, including letters of direction, performance improvement plans, mandatory training, are not disciplinary in nature and are not subject to this policy, but rather to, not to this policy. And then there's some clearing up of some grammar in here. Use of tobacco, nicotine, and related products by students, quite simply, this is an expansion of the fact that it's not just cigarettes anymore, it's the vapor tools and gums and things like that. Yes?
Turn your mic on. Okay.
Has our athletic code been updated on that as well? Nicotine, vaping, patches, gum.
Athletic directors right now.
Turn your mic on.
We do have a couple of, requests that are coming in, to make sure that if it is approved by a doctor, that there are specific processes that we must follow similar to a prescription medication. So that's how we're going to treat patches and gum.
What about the vaping?
Vaping is covered under our policy. We added that last August, September, to really encompass anything that would be put in a vape pen, Juul, whatever it might be.
Okay. 5516, student hazing. This is simply to remove the requirement in the policy that hazing policy be distributed as presently required. It's already covered in our handbooks and stuff like that, so we don't have to have the superintendent's responsibility for delivering this every year. So it doesn't do away with hazing, it's just the delivery of the policy. 5772, wordsmithing only is to change the words to law enforcement. 5870, student production of goods and services. This one is worth reading. It is a policy of the Board of Education that students may produce goods and services for nonprofit community organizations or groups during the school hours or in school activities, only to the extent that such production furthers the educational development of those students. Care must be exercised by administrators in interpreting this policy to avoid exploitation of those students. Intellectual property rights of the students who develop ideas, concepts, or materials which may carry with them intellectual property characteristics may pursue protection of those rights on their own. No district staff may take steps to claim intellectual property rights relative to any product created by the students, except as expressly approved by the superintendent and agreed to by participating students prior to the commencement of any projects. District does not determine the protectability nature of any particular work. So students have a right to benefit from these things, but according to these rules. 6150, tuition income. When we are charging another district for tuition, it's already covered. We do it the proper way already. Similarly, 6220, budget preparation. Already in concert with this one, it's just delete some specific points so it doesn't become redundant. Fund balance adds and defines some points about fund balance, so it becomes more clear. Cooperative purchasing, that's using CISA. To us, we understand it, and the wording is just a few clarifications again. Facility security. Policy has been revised to identify that any parent visiting the district are required to comply with policy 9150 school visitors, and any other relevant policies and administrative guidelines, as well as refer to the district's policy on developing the school safety plan, which we do develop in policy 8240, so there's a connection between those two. Further additional grammatic changes have been made. Again, we're pretty much in concert with these already. Public records. This is where somebody is asking for copies of the records. It goes into more detail on how that may be handled or must be handled. It also goes into specific detail on how expenses are to be calculated for that person that's asking for copies of records and so on.
These are like FOIA requests.
Pardon?
These are like FOIA requests.
Yeah. The specificity is now 2 cents per page, but you are allowed to put in an employee's wages. Previously, we were charging more per page than this allows. Policy 9130, public requests, suggestions, and complaints. Oh, this introduces an appeals process. And public attendance at school events, quite simply says that anybody attending must follow our policies as dealing with weapons, which would be 7217 and 57, boy, I wrote that down, looks like 5772. We do have policies on weapons that have to be followed, yes?
I move for approval of the policies as presented.
In my paper, but you can do that.
Can I move for that? And then just want to move it right along. You can second it.
I'll second it, Kurt. You've been waiting all night for that.
Is there any discussion on these 25, 26? What number are we at?
There's 25 different issues here, but they involve 32 policies.
32 policies. Okay, thank you for that. Any discussion, any questions? I did have one.
Sure.
2461, recording of the IEP team meetings. What's driving those changes?
Joe?
It's just a general protection for the district while granting certain parents the right to record the IEP team if appropriate and building some steps in the event that it happens. From time to time, the school district gets a request. If the request is given days in ahead, we can make certain plans to review the request and such. There are times where people show up and want to record the meeting and we get questions as to how that go, if they can do it and can we do it? What process would we use?
So this clarifies.
This provides a lot of clarity around that, and it will provide, again, access for certain families that need it, but in some situations, then it'll give the district the discretion to deny that request.
So how common or how often is that?
A handful of times a year.
Okay.
Among 2,000 students who are
yeah.
receiving special ed services. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Amanda?
I have a question, yes. Policy 2270, religion in curriculum. The very last paragraph on that first page, why was that struck out?
Minute, we gotta go find that one.
2270.
Just curious as to the discussion behind it.
This down here? I think it was stricken so that it didn't, it was previously, it was a opening of a prohibition, right? Let's see, shall be.
Yeah, there was some language that was taken out of there because what we had in policy based off of the first approval 2 years ago really pushed a line as to what a school board could do, a school district could do in relation to religion and the curriculum. I'm still trying to find the exact wording here, but they wanted to make sure that it was clear. They wanted to make sure that there was clarity around what the district could do or couldn't do. And so when you get into certain statements such as no classroom teacher shall be prohibited from providing reasonable periods of time for activities of a moral, philosophical, or patriotic theme, no student shall be required to participate in such activities if they are contrary to the religious convictions of his or her parents, we start to push a line as to what we can control and what we can't control. So by removing this language, then we don't address that line, which is coming up Relatively frequently among the freedom from religion groups that we hear from occasionally in the district about an event or a support that we have given. So we want to take that out of there so that the board isn't granting that authority. If it happens, it can happen within a certain scope, such as the Pledge of Allegiance being a patriotic activity. We can provide that. We don't have to address it. But if you start getting into areas of morality, then you start bumping up against areas of religion, and that's why it's been taken out. We had a lengthy conversation with our Neola representative on this.
Okay. The paragraph above, though, if there's a specific period or lesson that a parent is not comfortable, they can make specific arrangements with the teacher.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yes. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion on these 32 policies? Ms. Ryanchek.
Thank you. This is not a question on why something was changed, but just a question on some wording in the policy itself. Could I ask that?
Sure.
Okay. 1623, the prohibition against disability discrimination in employment. Just reading what an individual with a disability means, some of the things that stood out to me was performing manual tasks, learning, reading, thinking, and working. So if they can't work, or if they can't perform a manual task or learn or think, why can we not terminate someone if they aren't able to work? Yes.
Take that, Mr. O'Brien.
Since I've had to deal with this in my workplace, that's the law. Just because they struggle from a disability, you have to work with that disability. You can't terminate them just because they have a disability. That is the law. Federal law.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion on these? Okay, Sue, please take the roll call vote. I will not summarize all 32.
Got it. Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0. Actually, I probably should have asked if anybody wanted to have anything pulled out for separate consideration. Would that be part of our process or not, Bill?
It would be in a case like this, but I didn't hear. Somebody could have said something. You're right. We should have
Sure.
asked that.
Okay.
If it hadn't been somebody jumping in there so quickly, probably would have remembered to do that.
But you still have a little bit more to
Okay, I
go.
do have 4 new policies. These will follow the prior procedure of a reading tonight, a reading in May, and depending potentially an approval in May. So this is the way we've always acted. 4 policies here. The first policy is 2271.01 is quite simply follow up on in the ones I just you approved. We changed one of the policies because Start College Now and early college credit programs were connected. They simply separated them into 2 policies, and that's the new policy here for the state Start College Now program. Policy 2420, Education for Employment. The DPI has I don't think they call it a compliance number, PI 26, which is a long time ago established the Education for Employment process. This is a new policy which just clearly identifies the requirements of the Education for Employment process, addresses the grade level requirements for providing education regarding employment, education for employment. Policy also explains the regulatory requirements and addresses the requirements of the district's plan regarding education for employment. Revised policy is required for compliance with PI 26. And this, you may want to go over this one. It's not stuff that we're opposed to or doing differently, but it brings it down to black and white, or black and yellow in this case. Policy 8407, although there have been references to the district's interaction with law enforcement and a variety of policies and guidelines, this new policy is designed to acknowledge the existence of school resource officer program itself and to provide framework for establishing the written agreement between a law enforcement agency and the board. And this is a new policy. There's even made a couple of changes already to it, but that's okay. Lastly, threats of violence. This is a new policy developed out of the existing child abuse and neglect policy, which previously incorporated reporting and training obligations for both instances of suspected child abuse or neglect and instances of threats of violence. The two obligations are connected in that there are overlapping requirements and statutory incorporations, and the contents of the obligations of the policies have not materially changed. However, the decision was made to establish two types of issues, reporting situations, so that they are more readily accessed and reviewed when needed. So again, what they're trying to say in all those words is, it previously was two policies, now it's separated into, previously was one policy, now it's separated into two policies. And, like I said, we will be getting a little bit lighter now, unless you really want me to keep going. These items will be met with the were approved at the March 19th Policy Committee meeting. I'll be taking them back to the next policy meeting, which happens to be next Tuesday, April 16th at 4 p.m., and bring them back to the board meeting in May for final approval.
Are there any, Mr. O'Brien?
Yeah, the school resource officer program is a new policy, and I realize as a new policy, it's new, right? And even for the school resource officer program we have today, is confusing because it kind of mixes interactions with the police department with school resource officers. They're not the same thing. And because our school resource officers may not be regular patrol officers, it is confusing the way it's written. In addition, at this time, we do need a policy like this. I would say we need to be clear, and we need to broaden it beyond just law enforcement agencies to contracted services in the event that we get go in that direction. So I'm not saying we do this, I'm not asking policy to pick this up at the next meeting, because we're still trying to define what we're going to have going forward. But we do need to cover school resource officers as police officers, and we need to cover school resource officers as potential contractors.
Okay, so there could be contractors as well in any situation, not just ours.
And I think, Mr. Cook, we talked about this before we could consider contracting officers. We'd want to have our policy reflect
that. A lot of
that.
work to do, but I'm going to read this over again and see if we have a way we can just simplify that.
If we don't contract officers, it won't matter. But I mean, the reality is I think we're heading in that direction. I'm not sure we're going to go in that direction, but it looks like we're heading in that direction. So,
in which case it would be complicit. Yeah. Okay.
Are there any other questions or items for consideration on the four new proposed policies?
And if you have any that come up between now and next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, let us know.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgart.
Okay, that's that.
Moving on to our Technology Committee report given by Mr. Dietz.
No report this evening, Mr. President. However, our next committee meeting is Wednesday, April 24th, 5 p.m. here at Lindholm.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to our other business. Are there any recommendations for future full Board of Education agendized items, or any ideas to toss out to our committee chairs? Okay. We do have a need for item C and item D for executive session tonight. So I would be looking for a motion for both those. Mrs. Ryanchek?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we adjourn to executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parenthesis 1 parenthesis E for deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Express swim agreement, school resource officer agreement, offer on Oakdale property, and Department of Transportation settlement. I also move that we adjourn to executive session per Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parenthesis 1 parenthesis C to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
Is there a second to that? Second by Mr. Baumgart. Sue, this is requires a roll call vote. Would you do that, please?
Amanda Roddy?
Aye.
Diane Voigt?
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien?
Aye.
Karen Reinacek?
Aye.
Greg Dietz?
Aye.
William Baumgart?
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey?
Aye.
Joseph Como?
Aye, passes 8-0. We will be going into closed session, but there could be reason for us to open, or to reconvene into open session after our closed session for these items. So I don't know what would be a good estimate of time.
It's hard to say.
15 to 30 minutes, if that. We'll see.
Yeah.
But, so thank you, everybody. And you're welcome to stay around to when we reconvene into open session.
He's been broadcasting all along.
We are now reconvened into our open session. We do have 3 items for possible approval. We're looking at the first item to be the approval of a Department of Transportation settlement. Do I have a motion to approve this release? That's what we're looking to approve as a release, which essentially then,
I move that we approve the release. Guess I got to have my microphone on. I move we approve the release for case number 17 CV 1753 between the School District of Waukesha as the plaintiff versus the Waukesha Department of Transportation, as outlined in our 2-page agreement dated, that will be signed on this day in 2018.
is there a second to that?
Second.
Second by Mr. Baumgart. Any discussion?
Let me just be clear, we initially were offered we were given $342,000. The release will give us another additional $600,000 for a total of $942,300 for the land out at TT that the DOT wanted so bad.
Discussion, comments? Okay, Amanda, will you please take the roll call vote?
William Baumgart?
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey?
Aye.
Karen Reinacek?
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien?
Aye.
Amanda Roddy? Aye. Greg Dietz?
Aye.
Diane Voigt?
Aye.
Joseph Como?
Aye. Passes 8-0, Amanda. Our second possible action item here is a preliminary notice of non-renewal. Do I have, at our HR committee meeting, there was one such approval made at the committee level. Moved by Mr. Baumgart,
Second.
second by Mrs. Reinacek. Any further discussion? Amanda, please take the roll call vote.
Greg Dietz?
Aye.
Karen Reinacek?
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey?
Aye.
Diane Voigt? William Baumgart?
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien?
Aye.
Amanda Roddy? Aye. Joseph Como?
Aye. Passes 8-0, Amanda. And then our final item for possible action here is the superintendent's compensation and benefits. Do I Yes,
We're not really dealing with the compensation, are we?
that is correct. It's,
Contract.
well, actually,
We are.
we're dealing with the whole contract, so it does cover salary.
It is a
and
form of
benefits.
compensation.
But there's a piece there that needs to still be determined. Yes, but we're looking at the whole contract that was presented.
I know what
In
you're
the
looking
manila
at, but
folder.
It troubles me to talk about superintendent's compensation when it's blank. I mean, I just don't know if that's worded properly.
Could word it as contract language.
That'd be fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I move approval of the adjustments to the superintendent's contract language.
Second.
Okay, seconded. Is there further discussion? Okay, Amanda, please take the roll call vote.
Craig O'Brien,
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy, aye. William Baumgart. Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0.
Thank you.
And that concludes our meeting for this evening. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
You.
It's at least an hour sooner than I